Welcome to the Empath Collapse message and meditation. This message and meditation will assist you in navigating your empathic abilities so that they clarify rather than confuse you as you uncover who and what you really are and step fully out of the illusion of unconsciousness. As a part of the shift that is underway in our reality, many are starting to become more aware of and/or reactionary to information that is received through empathic or extra senses. Up until this point, most have been conditioned to ignore these senses. This ignorance actually works to support and perpetuate unconsciousness, because when you are unaware of those senses and the information you're receiving from them, you have a very hard time distinguishing who and what you really are from the flow of information through your extra inner senses. This is particularly true when you believe fully in a material reality that is out there, and everything that you experience on the inside is somehow you and separate from material reality. However, as unconsciousness starts to be dissolved in this realm, it is becoming harder and harder to ignore your empathic senses. And this has many different repercussions. Whether or not you recognize yourself as an empath, you are sensing information that comes to you from beyond the 5 traditional senses from the world around you, from environments, people, land, conceptual energetic structures, other beings, or even objects. This is an ability that has been around for some time, but it is going to be more clearly in your awareness as you get to know and experience yourself in a new way as a part of the shift. It's an ability that many have been looking forward to. However, at the current stage of transition, this ability can be a bit difficult to deal with. There are a number of reasons for this. First, because you've been taught to mostly ignore or discredit those inner senses. Even if you do acknowledge them on some level, you are likely still not fully able to distinguish between what you are sensing and what is authentically you. Because these senses have not been fully acknowledged or fully integrated, the information you're receiving, because you perceive it as coming from inside of you, can actually feel quite overwhelming and draining, and starts to inform your sense of who and what you are. Instead of understanding that you are sensing something from your environment or from the reality, you think these sensations are your own. And this means that you continue to define yourself through the illusions inherent in unconsciousness that currently exists in this reality. In addition to this, it's very common for what you're sensing to be somewhat terrifying. Ancient unconscious processes that are heavily based in separation consciousness are quite intense right now, as they are literally fighting for their continued existence. And when you sense those processes with your extra senses, as well as your 5 material world senses, that generates a whole new level of fear, not only because you may not be fully sure that those unconscious processes are not coming from you yourself, but also because the intensity of those processes often triggers your own unconsciousness. Unconsciousness can take many different forms. However, the heart of all unconsciousness is the idea that the experience that you are having in this reality, in this illusion, is all that is real. So when you sense intense unconscious processes around you, what may be triggered in you is the fear that the illusion actually is real, and that can be limiting at best and horrifying at worst. This is how unconsciousness perpetuates itself, particularly when it is in the process of being dissolved, and that is what is happening right now. It's common for unconsciousness to bellow even more loudly if it senses that people are starting to extricate their energetic support of it. In order for separation consciousness, or unconsciousness, to survive, it has to continue to completely convince everyone that it is real. However, when you are in connection consciousness, when you know the truth of who and what you really are, you just know what is and what is not true or real, what is and what is not of the ultimate reality. So because of these two phenomena, first, not fully understanding where the line is between information you're receiving empathically and the real you, and second, having your own unconsciousness react to the unconsciousness you sense through your empathic abilities and 5 material world senses, it can be very easy to be confused because you are swimming in the soup of illusion with no idea of what is you and what is the soup. This is the essence of empath collapse. However, the good news is that what is happening now is like round 2 of rising from the primordial ooze. In this round, though, you are rising from the primordial ooze of unconsciousness. This is how new forms of existence are birthed. You are now being invited to know yourself as you truly are, instead of trying to know yourself through anything or anyone in the illusion. This may seem counterintuitive at first, since as you are arising from separation consciousness into connection consciousness, one of the first steps is to separate your sense of yourself from the soup of unconsciousness, or the ooze of unconsciousness, that you currently live in. This is one of many examples of pleasant paradoxes that exist in connection consciousness. As you become more connected to your true self that exists in the ultimate reality, the reality beyond this reality, you become more in touch with your own unique essence. And when you are in touch with your own unique essence, you are paradoxically much more likely to recognize your deep connection with all that is in this reality and beyond. In other words, in separation consciousness, you are programmed to have the same responses as everyone else, as you are mindlessly supporting structures that have supported unconsciousness for eons. Even though we call this separation consciousness, there is no unique you in that experience. So how do you manage your empathic abilities, get to know the real you, and step more fully into connection consciousness? That's what we're going to practice in today's meditation. Before we get started, be sure you are doing this meditation in a space in which you feel safe and in which you will be free from interruption. Pause this recording if you need to get into this type of space for the meditation. And now, close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. If you notice any parts of yourself that have been scattered today, call those parts back. Communicate to your attention that something interesting is about to happen. Invite it to participate. Just make the request and allow whatever is going to happen to happen. Next, call your supports in spirit into your awareness. These are the supports that live in the reality beyond this reality. You may think of these as your guides, your angels, wise beings with whom you have a connection, or loved ones who exist outside of space and time. Ask them to assist you with this practice today. Call them in from the sky above, the earth below, the air around, and the fire within. Sense these supports coming in now. Ask these supports to set the tone for this meditation by clearing and establishing boundaries for your safe space. As you make this request, you hear a gong being struck, and simultaneously, in your mind's eye, you see you and your meditation space enveloped in and aligned with waves of higher frequency light that accompany the sound waves. These lift both you and your safe space above any interference. And now, open. Open your inner senses. Open your extra senses. Open to your safe space. Notice, this is where and when you are. Now bring your attention more fully to your inner senses. Just allow those sensations to wash over your awareness for a moment. Don't try to name or grasp anything. Notice how your internal landscape is always in motion, fluid and dynamic. Just sit in the experience of you as you typically experience yourself for a few moments. As you observe and breathe into these inner sensations, in your mind's eye, you notice a thread of energy in front of you, a tendril that is reaching out to you. It's beautiful, full of shifting colors, many of which you've never perceived before. You sense that this tendril of energy is attached to universal wisdom and that it will accompany you with warmth, love, and light to wherever you ask it to take you. For now, consider the message at the beginning of this meditation. Set the intention that you'd like to develop a strong awareness of your empathic senses so that you have crystal clarity about what is and what is not actually a part of you. With this intention in mind, reach your hand out towards that tendril of light. As your fingers touch that tendril, you are filled with joy and a sense of motion as you are instantly transported to the top of an observation tower. You realize that this observation tower allows you to view the part of you that exists in this reality from your higher, authentic self's perspective. You realize that the tower is an aspect of your higher, authentic self that is always supporting and guiding you. As you look down from this tower, you can see the part of you that exists in this reality below at ground level. In particular, you are able to clearly see the streams of information you are receiving from your empathic senses from a bird's eye view. From this vantage point, it is very obvious what is and what is not really you. You can see streams of information flowing across your awareness at ground level, and this gives you a strong sense that you actually do have these abilities within this reality. It's just harder to distinguish between the authentic you and that constant flow of information when your perspective is at ground level. Just take in this scene for a moment. Now, as you're observing, feel two things settle into your awareness. The fact that you really are sensing these things as you go about your day, and that when you are at ground level in your day-to-day reality, it is understandable why it's confusing to try and distinguish between who and what you really are and what you are sensing in the environment. As this clarity starts to settle in, it dawns on you how you navigate reality with your 5 material senses. Because you fully accept that those senses are collecting information about things that are separate from you, you never mistake that information for who and what you are. For example, if you hear something in the material environment, you do not automatically think that it is you or yours, or somehow representative of your true essence. Instead, you just experience it, take in the information from it, address anything that needs to be addressed, and let it go. This kind of awareness is what you want to develop when it comes to your empathic senses as well. For now, ask the tendril of light that has been waiting behind you to take you back to ground level. As you are now once again more aligned with your day-to-day self within the reality, you think to yourself, wouldn't it be nice to have a filter or portal in your fields through which you could observe your inner landscape that would allow you to clearly see the information you're taking in from your empathic senses as separate from the authentic you. To see them as you saw them from the vantage point of your higher self. To experience them the same way that you experience your 5 material senses. As you consider this, you can feel the tendril of light going to work on your fields. You notice a filter or portal being installed at the juncture of your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical fields. You understand that this filter acts as an immediate portal to that higher self vantage point that you experienced from the observation tower. You realize that you can activate this filter at any time, so that you can more clearly understand the experiences and information you are observing inside of yourself, and distinguish between what is authentically you in connection consciousness and what is being received from the illusion of this reality. Now turn your attention once again toward the tendril of light. Set the intention that you'd like clarity relating to distinguishing between your authentic self and your own unconscious processes that are triggered through what you're observing and intuiting in your environment. With this intention in mind, you reach out your hand once again and touch the tendril of light. You are once again instantly transported to the top of the higher self observation tower. From this vantage point, you can observe yourself at ground level yet again, but this time you are able to observe the unconscious reactions to the information you are taking in that occur inside of you. You see this as a flood of energy that automatically reacts in fear, in rage, in outrage, in anger, but essentially always comes from the same misunderstanding that the illusion is what is ultimately real. Notice how from here, from your higher self perspective, it is easy to see that those reactionary processes are not really you either. Your higher self lives in connection consciousness and always recognizes the illusion as the illusion. As you let this awareness settle into your being, once again, ask that the tendril of light take you to ground level to connect with your everyday self. At ground level, again you think to yourself, wouldn't it be nice to have another filter or portal in your fields that would allow you to clearly see your own unconsciousness as it starts to react, so that you know that it is not the real you either, the authentic essence of you? As you think this, you can feel the tendril of light installing another filter or portal at the juncture of your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical fields at ground level. Once again, you realize that you can activate this filter portal at any time so that you can experience yourself from your higher authentic self perspective. You can do this just by calling the filter or portal into your awareness so that you can more clearly distinguish between your own unconsciousness, your own belief in the illusion as real, and your authentic essence in connection consciousness. Once this second filter has been installed, turn your attention one more time to the tendril of light which is still waiting behind you. Set the intention that you'd like to have more experience and awareness of your higher connected self, your authentic, unique essence at all times. You realize that this will occur if your higher self is able to more fully manifest in this reality. As you realize this, the tendril of light that has been accompanying you opens a portal above your head, above all of your fields. A flood of light comes through the portal, and you can see the observation tower through the portal. You recognize that this portal is an opening into your higher self. Ask that your higher self fully manifest a clear connection into the parts of you that experience everyday existence. As you make this request, you see and sense a bright spark of energy and light coming into manifestation at the juncture of your spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical fields. This spark of energy is a fully manifested aspect of your higher self that is in full connection with your higher self outside of the reality that stays with you as you go about your everyday existence. You intuitively understand that by turning your attention to this spark that you now carry with you, you will instantly be aware of and align with the authentic essence that is you. You will carry this spark as well as the other filters you receive today with you as you go about your day. For now, just rest and enjoy the gifts you've received today. Know that going forward, you can practice tuning into and using either of the filters or portals that were installed in your fields, or tune into the spark of the authentic you that now exists fully manifested in your fields. You can intuit which tool would be most useful at any given point in time, and tune into that tool as a practice in understanding more fully who and what you really are. For now, it is time to return fully to your everyday existence. As you take a few more deep breaths, notice your spiritual rhythms and physical breaths aligning as you resettle into your physicality. As you rest here for a moment, mentally check your awareness for each of the filters or portals and the spark that you were given in this meditation. Know that these are always there for you and can be aligned to at any time. These are powerful tools as you go forward in helping you to have clarity about who and what you really are. For now, step fully back into your physicality. Do you feel a bit lighter somehow? Are you developing a clearer sense of yourself? Take this with you as you go about your day. Thank your supports and release them. And take a few more deep breaths. Feel free to practice this meditation as much as you'd like, as long as you are enjoying it and finding it useful. It was a pleasure to step into this space with you today. Thank you.